ISGAN is the short name for the International Smart Grid Action Network, a technology collaboration program of the International Energy Agency. ISGAN is also an initiative of the Clean Energy Ministerial, formally established in 2011. ISGAN creates a strategy platform to support high-level governmentation and action for the accelerated development and deployment of smarter and cleaner electricity grids around the world. ISGAN consists of 27 contracted parties from all over the world, represented in 6 active working groups, covering the different smart grid topics from cost-benefit analysis to flexibility market. The ISGAN's visions is to accelerate progress on key aspects of smart grid policy, technology, and investment through voluntary participation by government in projects and programs. The ISGAN activities focus on 5 principal areas: policy standards and regulation, finance and business models, technology system development, workforce skills and knowledge, users and consumers engagement. ISGAN facilitates dynamic knowledge sharing, technical assistance, peer review, and project coordination among its contracting parties. The ISGAN value proposition relies on conferences and workshops, policy and technology briefs, discussions and technical papers, casebooks, and webinars. Within ISGAN, virtual learning offers the ISGAN community means of rational and continuous technical skill complement and update in the field of smart grid. The Academy is proposed as a set of e-learning and reading core modules dealing with the entire value chain of smart grids. In the context of virtual learning, the webinar today will present the advancements of the 2 European projects dealing with cross-border power connections. The speakers of the webinar are Anastasis Tzoumpas from UBITECH Energy, Álvaro Nofuentes from ETRA, Mark Norton from Smart Wires, and Dusan Vlaisavljevic from EKC. I encourage you to pose your question using the question and answer tools. We have the tool from Teams, but also the slide tool in case the first one is not available for a review. So feel free to pose your question there. The speakers will be happy to clarify your doubts at the end of their presentation. I remind that the recording of the webinar will be available on the ISGAN YouTube channel. Okay, now I leave the floor to Anastasis and enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Matteo. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Anastasis Tzoumpas. I'm working in UBITECH Energy as a project manager, and I'm the technical coordinator for the FARCROSS project. I will present you first the agenda for today's webinar. We will start with a brief project overview for the FARCROSS project. Then Álvaro will continue with the project overview for TRINITY project. We will continue with the technologies presentation, first for the modular power flow control solution, which is unlocking cross-border capacity. Mark from Smart Wires will present us this section. Then Dusan will present the TRINITY T-Sentinel toolset. And we will continue with the collaboration section for the 2 projects. We will present you the idea of collaboration and the main outcomes expected. And we will finalize our discussion with the questions and answer session. So FARCROSS, in a nutshell, is for facilitating regional cross-border electricity transmission through innovation, and aims to connect major stakeholders of the energy value chain around Europe and demonstrate integrated hardware and software solution that will facilitate the unlocking of the resources for the cross-border electricity flows and, of course, for regional cooperation. There are many partners in this project, 33, and we are having strong presence by the industry, by the transmission system operators, by institutes and companies that work together for the outcomes of the project. The main objectives of FARCROSS is to develop and introduce advanced software solutions that will increase cross-border capacity and the potential of cross-border grid services, to design and propose a robust set of technical and market codes, enable the building up of the harmonization of the codes and potential integration to the national electricity markets, to design and present a cost-benefit analysis methodology based on all the lessons learned from the demonstrators, to enhance the planning of cross-border investments in infrastructure. To demonstrate these developed hardware and software technologies in a realistic environment, FARCROSS engages transmission system operators and energy producers in 8 countries, and of course to facilitate further research and new market opportunities across the energy industry. In this slide, you can see the 5 FARCROSS demonstrators. There are 3 main domains: the smart grid innovation to increase cross-border capacity, which has 3 demos, the so-called MPFC demo for unlocking cross-border capacity with modular power flow control solutions, which will be presented in more detail later today. The complex grid management technology for handling cross-border transmission line capacity related issues, the dynamic line rating demo. The implementation of a wide area protection automation control system, so-called WAMPAC, applied to cross-border transmission systems. And concerning the regional system operations platform development, we have the Pan-European Deep Modeling Framework for improved system operation, planning, forecasting, and analysis in the inter-TSO level, the so-called Europan demo. Last but not least, at the area of capacity allocation for regional cross-border trading, there is the OptimCamp demo about the optimized cross-border capacity auction algorithms. Our methodology for addressing these challenges, first, we have started with analysis of the European regulatory framework and the implementation and testing of the individual solution, both software and hardware. Then the demonstration of the platforms and the mechanisms developed and the other smart grid innovations followed. And we continued with the development and demonstration of cost-benefit analysis tool to boost investment on cross-border solution. And one of the main outcomes of the project will be to provide business cases and policy guidelines for harmonization, and of course involve external stakeholders. These innovations facilitate the internal energy market, targets the market coupling the harmonization of the clean energy targets. The impact of the FARCROSS project is shown in this slide and can be summarized as follows. First, we successfully integrate large amounts of renewable generation assets. Then these resources are intermittent and there are advantages to geographical dispersion. So FARCROSS proposed solution can be used to increase cross-border flows, allowing other countries from importing clean energy and to maximize EU-wide renewable generation. Second, we reduce the need to build new infrastructure since we first optimize the existing network, and at the same time we achieve reduced environment impact compared to alternative solutions, and we minimize the total cost to the customers. And we shorten connection lead times as FARCROSS solution can be installed in a relatively short time frame, can minimize the grid modifications needed to integrate new sources of generation or serve as a bridge solution. So at this time, I would like to welcome and give the floor to Álvaro, Trinity project manager, coordinator. Please, Álvaro.
Thanks, Anastasis. Well, just to summarize in the Trinity project, we can say that we have 5 main objectives. The first one is to enhance the cross-border trading and the balancing energy exchange between some South-Eeastern Europe countries. The second objective is to ensure proper electricity market integration also among these partners in these countries of South-Eeastern Europe region. And our third objective is to increase the share of renewables in the region. And the fourth objective is in this context of more renewable or potential more renewable energy in the region, how we can improve the security of system operation. And last but not least, we are aiming to increase and to improve the coordination, interaction and communication between the main actors of the region. Mainly talking about the communication of the TSOs between themselves, with the regional security center of Serbia, and also between the TSOs and other actors like power exchanges or renewable energy producers. To do so, we have developed 4 main technology products. Let's say all of these products are, let's say, the umbrella of different type of software modules. But just to simplify the presentation, I will talk just about these 4 products or 4 umbrellas, let's say. The first one is the TRS Control Center, which is a software product addressed to renewable energy producers or renewable energy promoters, and that will facilitate their monitoring, the control and monitoring of already in place renewable plants, and also will facilitate the promotion of new renewable plants in the region. Then we have the T-market coupling framework, in which we are developing 4 different software modules in order to facilitate the coupling of the intraday, the bilateral, the capacity, and also the guarantees of origins markets in the region. Here we are working with these 4 type of markets. And then we have the 2 tools or the 2 products addressed to the regional security center and its associated TSOs, which are the T-Sentinel toolset that provides close to real-time power security checks and other important control functions. The T-Sentinel toolset will be better explained in future slides by my colleague Dusan. And also for facilitating this communication between the TSOs and the regional security center, as I explained it before, we have developed the T-coordination platform. These are summarizing our technologies, and we are going we are testing them. Actually, we are finalizing the testing of these technologies in 3 different scenarios. The first one is the scenarios to increase the reliability and security of the transmission system of the region, that in which we are testing the T-Sentinel toolset and the T-coordination platform in 5 countries, which are Serbia, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Montenegro, and Bosnia. The second scenario is the one related to market integration, in which we are testing the T-market coupling framework in Serbia, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Bosnia, and also Hungary. And we are finally testing the third scenario, mainly in Croatia and Greece, which they are dealing with the increase of renewables in the region. Also, as a, let's say, in an indirect manner, it is also being tested in other countries of the region. Yes. And this is the timeline of the project. As you may see, we have already finalized the preparation and development phases, and we are finalizing the project. We are finalizing the integration and impact phase, and well, actually, we are now finalizing the demonstration activities. They are expected to finalize in June of this year, and in the next couple of weeks, and then we will have the last 3 months to make all the reports, all the final deliverables, to provide all the calculations, all the replicability activities, etc. And just to give an overview of the Trinity impact, well, I have to make a disclaimer. The demonstrations are almost performed, but the key performance indicators are still not calculated. So no quantitative impacts are available from now, but we can already show some insights that we have realized it from this demonstration. Regarding the TRS control center, it has demonstrated a great potential for the reduction of maintenance costs in wind parks, mainly due to the predictive maintenance module that we have developed, and the errors or potential failures can be predicted up to 3 months in advance. Regarding T-Sentinel, this test for cross-border management flows have shown a high potential for the flexibility. So it has been demonstrated that flexibility will be needed in the future energy transition, or will be relevant, since it is quite a cost-efficient measure to facilitate the cross-border management of flows. Then regarding the demonstrations of the T-market, mainly in the intraday market module, we have seen that price volatility between Hungary and Serbia is less significant than before applying this T-market module. And finally, regarding the T-coordination, we have realized that the platform saves time to the transmission system operator and the regional security center in their normal communication and coordination processes. And that's it regarding Trinity impact. And well, just to finalize these slides, talking about the consortium. The project is mainly ruled by the end users, which are transmission system operators, market operators, the regional security center, and renewable energy promoters. And of course, these end users have the support of the technical partners. So in total, the consortium is formed by 19 partners plus 4 linked third parties. The project is coordinated by ETRA Research and Development, the company I came from. And well, if you look at the picture, well, the companies in the center are the companies of the consortium, and outside this initial circle, you can find another entities like Sensenelecon or Ensoe that also signed letters of support in a proposal phase, and that we are also contacting for showing them some of the results. And this is our stakeholder group, let's say. And I think that's it from my side. So I leave the floor to Mark to explain its module. Thanks.
Thanks, Álvaro. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to talk to you today about one of the demos in the FARCROSS project, that being the modular power flow control use to unlock cross-border capacity. You can see before you the goals, the primary goals. We're looking to increase the cross-border capacity between the deployment location, which was Greece, and its neighbours. We were looking to reduce the level of curtailment that we actually have for renewable power in both jurisdictions, so in and outside of Greece as well, and increase the market coupling by using the modular power flow control solutions we'll talk a little bit more about the attributes and the capabilities in the forthcoming slides. But those were the three primary goals. However, simultaneously, we knew that there were a number of other benefits that we could get from the technology, and we hoped and we were able to demonstrate some of those. Primarily, we were looking at flexibility, the fact that the devices can be scaled very quickly, easily up and down, can be moved very easily, redeployed, the speed of installation, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the following slides, and minimizing both investment risk and disruption to local communities and areas. I'm going to talk you through a little bit about the technology now, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the installation process and then the contributions that we made. So as you can see, the modular power flow control technology is essentially a static synchronous series compensator, but it's modular in nature, and that's the important part, it's the important word. So it's like building blocks or Lego. You put it together to get the desired capability that you want, and therefore you can scale it very easily. It's a power electronics device, very akin to a VSC in the way that it actually works. And because of that, it's very flexible. It's a digital technology. It's very fast and quick, easy to deploy because of its modular nature again. We can use it in a variety of ways, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the services it can provide. And it's fast to deploy and comes in a range of sizes that supports the network. As you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, this is an image of it in site. Installed. It's a very simple technology, and we'll talk a little bit more about that installation process as we actually move forward. So maybe we could have the next slide. Thank you. So as part of the first stage of development, and as I say, we did this, and as I was explained in the year, we needed to look at likely applications. 4 were developed with the IBTO, the Greek transmission system operator, looking at where there are pinch points along the network that would impact upon interconnection. And we're looking very much on the northern side of Greece, mainly the border with Bulgaria, but also Turkey as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a while. And as a consequence, we agreed to look at 4 use cases. Those 4 cases we're mainly looking at overloaded lines under stress with large transfers of energy in and out of the area, but also other times for other reasons. High levels of renewables was another reason why those lines could become very, very loaded, and there's a significant amount of renewable energy in northern Greece, wind and solar. What we found, sorry, can we go back a second? Thank you. What we found from the studies was that we could help in all 4 cases, and at least in one of them, 240 megawatts of additional capacity could be created through the deployment that we were proposing on circuit 3 on the diagram here. And that was with a relatively small deployment. So there's sizable changes that could be achieved. Can I have the next slide now? Thanks. So what are we effectively doing? Well, we decided that by putting the power flow control in, we could move energy between adjacent lines. The selected point was the 150 kV circuits. They're very much in parallel with a higher voltage system. They're often the binding constraint. And the site that was actually selected out of the 4 applications was actually near Santa in the northeast side of Greece. It's very close to both the Turkish and Bulgarian borders and is a pinch point on the system. But the site also has a number of attributes that made it very suitable. We knew that there was good land access there, and as a direct result, we knew that the ability to use a brownfield site to deploy would be very suitable. And IBTO themselves said, look, this is the prime site, this is the one we want to look at, and we've got a manned site, and it's a good one for evaluating the technology and for doing the post installation commissioning and study work. Can the next slide, please? Thank you. So just talk a little bit about the installation experience itself. I mean, it was a very smooth process. We decided that one of the things we wanted to test, I already mentioned, was flexibility. And one of the things that is a calling card, if you like, for modular technology is the ability to redeploy it between a number of different sites. And as a consequence, we made a decision early on that we had a 330 kV structure, support structures of the steel work at the below the devices themselves at the base of the equipment that was already ready and available. And we said, well, look, let's test this as part of this to say, well, does it meet the standards? Can we use it? Is it suitable for this installation in Greece? It was, and we used it as a consequence. We were then able to look at the installation, and you can see on the top left-hand diagram, all we needed in preparation was effectively 3 concrete bases, very simple. Not very large, and that's about the size of the preparation from the point of view of the civils. But we also needed to install, and you can see in the middle image on the left-hand side there, insulators in the line to create a physical break in the line that would divert the power through the devices themselves. And then we had effectively outages in order to do that. But the installation itself of the equipment, the erection, is very much like Meccano. It's very sort of flat pack, if you want to call it like that. It's quite simple. We had a crane on site. It took about 9 days to put everything into service, which was extremely quick for the transmission system. And we had a small cubicle, you can see it in the bottom right-hand corner, which is a telecommunications cabinet that was put into one of the local cubicles they had on site there, just to talk to the devices. Everything was done via a radio transmission and then relayed back to the control room. The whole thing from the initial start of the design, going through the tech assure, through the checking of the civils, the actual installation process and the commissioning was less than a year. So it was in line with what we had actually set out to look at as well. And we also went through an extensive in-field testing plan. So we ran the devices through their paces, all different quadrants of operation, under certain different conditions as well, different times of the day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in order to prove the capabilities of the devices and to match up with the studies that we'd actually done and to check the simulations actually match the real scale deployment. Can I have the next slide? Thank you. So I talked a little bit about what we set out to do. I've talked a little bit about what the technology is. I've talked about how we went about installing it. So let's just summarize the whole thing at this stage and say what were the key contributions as a consequence. And we had a number of world firsts, as I'll touch on. So the first thing is it was a world first that we actually installed this modular power flow control technology, and we're able to demonstrate sizable increases in capacity that could be used for market trading and operational use. And as I say, that was looking along 2 borders, primarily with the deployment between Bulgaria and Turkey. But we also were able, from the analysis, to see that we'd have contributions to North Macedonia, which is quite some way further west. But a lot of the pinch points on the system effectively drive, even though they aren't on the interconnections themselves, the capacity that's available. So we were able to contribute there. The demonstration and knowledge dissemination that we were able to generate as a result of this, we went out and we proved the simplicity, we proved the speed of deployment. We were able to learn a lot from that group. Certainly IPTO was, and we were able to share as part of the project the dissemination a lot of that. I think it's really unprecedented to see a sizable change in capability within a year, and that's certainly something that's been experienced moving forward. We were also able to demonstrate for the first time ever some of the flexibilities of the technology, which was very welcome. Additionally, so I already mentioned about the 330 kV design. Just for time, I didn't be able to go into great detail, but we also were able to partner with another demo, which was looking at wide area measurement but also active power control. And by linking the two, we were able to demonstrate that you could actually do phase oscillation dampening with the devices as well. And it was a European first from the point of view of consideration of a widespread operational and operational deployment of the technology with stem to stern. So it's not just can you control the device in the field, but also what's going to drive the actions that you're going to take. And the evaluation we've done with the T-Sentinel software, and I'll hand over very shortly to Dusan to talk you through that, is definitely unique. And I think it shows, how two components, two different projects brought together can provide a really sizable opportunity for system operators in the market and the industry as a whole. So as I said, I will hand over at this point, and thank you very much for your time to Dusan to talk about the T-Sentinel toolset. Thank you.
Hello, good day to everyone. So in Trinity, as Álvaro mentioned, we developed 4 different software tools or software packages that aim to improve the clean energy transition and market integration in the Southeast Europe. One of those tools is the T-Sentinel toolset, which was developed with the aim to provide the novel methodologies and following those methodologies deliver a multimodular tool set which could enhance the operation of the transmission system operators in regional centers in Southeast Europe, but also be replicable to the other European regions. And that tool set is comprised from 6 different sub-modules. The first 2 sub-modules, which will be discussed today, aim to improve the operational planning and security analysis. And these tools are remedial action optimization module and redispatching cost sharing module. The third module deals with assessment of reliability margin in the both flow-based and NTC-based capacity calculation, and the aim is to improve the level of the capacity and the security of the margin that should be kept, and the level of the capacity that should be given to the market for the trading. And also, we developed the additional tools which were not initially envisaged, but based on the needs of the TSOs in the regions, related to the short-term adequacy assessment, related to the emergency and restoration processes, and related to the AFRR or automatic frequency regulation. In the next slide. Now focusing on the modules for which we proven good synergy together with the colleagues from the FARCROSS project is basically the power system security modules in the T-Sentinel. So in terms of for the broader audience, in terms of the power system security analysis, this is part of the so-called ROSC process in Europe, or Regional Operational Security Coordination process. And this is one of the main tasks of the regional centers in Europe that coordinate operation of the transmission system operators. And basically within this process, the regional centers, they are monitoring the transmission grid on a day-ahead and intraday level close to real time. And the aim is to monitor and potentially detect the overloads over the critical network elements in combinations of N-1 security contingency that could happen in the grid. If the operational security limits are breached in this forecast analysis, then there is a need to deploy some of the remedial actions that they could be either non-costly or costly actions, non-costly like shifting phase shift transformers, or costly ones like redispatching the power plants. And we will come later on with great potential to use the devices which are deployed in the FARCROSS as one of the non-costly actions that could be very much effective and decrease the overall redispatching cost and needs to engage with the power plants redispatching or even renewable curtailment. So in the Trinity, we focus to develop the T-Sentinel toolset, which would improve this optimization of how non-costly and costly actions are selected to be deployed. So we focus on the software side of the process. And to do so, all 3 layers of the analysis that is performed by our software, so the layer of the monitoring, the layer of the remedial action optimization, the layer of the redispatch cost sharing, are optimized according to the strict European regulation, which is defined by system operation guidelines and following methodologies, and capacity allocation and congestion management guidelines and the following methodologies that you can see here on this slide. And for this, we developed two sub-modules. The first one is the remedial action optimization module, and the second one is the redispatching cost sharing module. So if we go to the next slide, here you can see the scheme, how the modules are working and communicating within the T-Sentinel. Basically, we have a security monitoring layer. Basically, this is N-1 security assessment or power flow monitoring on day-ahead, intraday, and close to real-time layer. And if we have the detection of the potential problem, the remedial action layer is triggered, and basically the aim of the remedial action layer is to perform the co-optimization between the non-costly and costly actions. And here we have the two phases of the preventive remedial action phase and curative remedial action phase, based on the constraints that are potentially in danger, whether this is the total or temporary admissible transmission loading, or PATL, basically the permanently admissible transmission loading. So the preventive actions, if the preventive actions are selected, they are deployed in the model and in reality in that moment for the future. If there is just a PATL limitation breach, then the selection of the most potent actions is decided, and they are prepared if the actual contingency happens that those actions should be deployed. And finally, we have the cost sharing layer, because in the past in Europe we have the division of cost that the TSO, which is faced with a problem, would pay for the redispatching action. But with new methodology, the idea is to develop the new algorithms that trace power and trace the loop flows and detect what are the TSOs that are basically causers of the overload, and they should participate in the compensation of the cost as well. So on the next slide, you can see from the data point how the process is executed in RAO. Basically, we have first the data preparation, we have the common European grid model, then the list of the critical network element and contingency that should be monitored, and the available remedial actions that should be considered if we have the overload in the grid. In the central step, when the potential overload is detected, we perform the remedial action optimization, which is based on the minimization of the costs, and the remedial action optimization has constraints not to lead to the additional limitation, and that the selected actions are such that are balanced, meaning that the selection of the redispatching cannot cause the further imbalance that should be solved on the balancing market. And finally, after the optimization is done, the reports are directly sent from the regional center to each of the TSOs and communicated and coordinated. And for this, we have the additional platform. This is the coordination platform developed by our colleagues in the RT International. And this is basically the backbone of the Trinity, because it communicates among different modules the solutions and decisions which needs to be checked, confirmed, and coordinated by the TSOs. On the next slide, the second module, what I mentioned, this is a post-processing. So the RAO module operates in close to real-time day-ahead intraday. And after the RAO module is deployed and some costs are detected, then we trigger this redispatching cost sharing module. And this is important because the cost of the redispatching in Europe are higher than 1 billion euro per year. So this module basically in a first step performs the power flow decomposition, which is based on the power flow coloring method that we developed in EKC. And this method detects the loop flows, internal flows, market flows, and PST flows that are caused by different bidding zones or in most of the cases, the bidding zone equals to the country, but it's not in general. You have, for example, Italy with several bidding zones, or Nordic countries that comprise within the country. So in the first step, we perform this power flow decomposition. Then in the second step, we perform the transformation, and this is basically to calculate what flows contribute to the overload of the element, and basically to detect what type of flows should be penalized. And here we calculate those flows that should be penalized and those bidding zones that cause that flows. And in the final step, we join together the percentage and megawatts with the money, and basically we map the total redispatching cost over to each specific overloaded critical network element and contingency, because you can have in one time stamp several problems in the grid, and this is solved how to allocate the cost to different critical network elements. And we calculate the final position and the final obligation of each TSO that needs to be paid for the caused redispatching problem that was solved by the costly actions. Next slide. Also, what we developed is advanced grid visualization. So it helps the operators that see on the geo visualization the results to monitor the outages, the overloaded elements, and to monitor the effect of each remedial action that was deployed. For example, if we shift the phase shifter or we redispatch some power plants, how this affects each of the element of the grid. And there are some different indicators, colors, of course, the red, the orange, depending on the level of the overloading, and also to understand what is the different impact of the actions. So the idea was that the results are not just tabular, but to offer the operators to understand the impacts and implication of the situation, the grid, in a fast and geographical manner, and to help them make better decisions and coordinations when it comes to what actions should be deployed. The next slide. So what are the key contributions of the T-Sentinel security modules that are in focus of today's workshop? So basically, we managed to develop the novel solutions and methodologies that will help out the regional security coordinators and transmission system operators in our region, but also to be replicable to other regions as well. For example, this redispatching cost sharing is the first fully integrated solution that is replicable to not just in Southeast Europe, but also in the core region. Some of the components of this solution is used, for example, in the ENTSO bidding zone review study. Also, it's used by the ACER as a main regulator of the European Union to detect the power flow decomposition and to understand the dynamic of the ROS process and related redispatching costs in Europe. Overall, the performed demonstrations provided that deployment of such solutions would bring more flexibility related to the redispatching treatment, would bring possibility for the TSOs in the Southeast Europe to perform the co-optimization between the costly and non-costly actions, and to have the fair redistribution of the redispatching cost. What is also important to mention that there is a great synergy, we will talk also later again, between the solution of the FARCROSS, the solution of the smart wires, and our software solution, because the smart wires offer us a great flexible device that could be optimized by our software close to real time and provide great benefits to the TSOs, and basically to shift the flows and to generate more security in the grid operation, or also the decrease of the need for the redispatch and the related costs. And finally, we were recognized by the EU Innovation Radar as that T-Sentinel received as a software that is recognized and that brings the innovation into the European business processes. So that would be in brief all about the T-Sentinel and the contribution of the Trinity in terms of the regional operational security process. Thank you. Back to Alex.
Yes, thanks, Dusan. I will continue explaining how this FARCROSS and TRINITY collaboration has been orchestrated. Well, just to give some context, FARCROSS and TRINITY are the only projects in the same topic, so we are sister projects, and we decided to try to establish some synergies and some collaboration. So after some discussions, we realized that maybe the integration of the smart bulb product and the Sentinel could offer benefits to the grid in terms of security and reliability. And maybe we decided to perform this technical collaboration in this field. But this collaboration has been extended not just to the technical field. So in the next slide, I will present which are, let's say, the main core parts of this collaboration. Firstly, at more technical side, we have developed a common paper called Merging Cross-Border Flow Optimization Techniques for Performance Maximization. And summarizing in this paper, we explain that combining the Sentinel software and the smart bulb hardware system, it is expected to leverage the control system's flexibility and then maximize the overall effectiveness of the different devices. The remedial action optimization of the Sentinel allows the utility to optimize the smart bulb system, and in this process in close to real-time operations. And as a main result of this paper, we saw that it can this merging can significantly enhance the South-Eastern Europe power system security, stability, and reliability. Then apart from this paper collaboration, in the 7th of September of this year, we will perform the common final event in Brussels, in which we will show the main insights and the main technologies and the main impact of both projects. This will be in hybrid format, so you can come to Brussels to be part of this final event, or you can follow it remotely. And in terms of communication and dissemination, we have also performed some common activities, like we have recorded what we call a Trinity coffee break, in which partners of the consortium, or in this case partners of Trinity and FARCROSS, talk in a more relaxed manner regarding some hot topics of energy or some main points of the projects, as I said, in a more relaxed way. Also, in Bridge, we have published common news, and also we have performed common news in the newsletters of Trinity and FARCROSS. And also we have performed common LinkedIn and Twitter posts. So just to talk about the expected outcomes, this collaboration maybe it has not finalized. We want to continue exploring the possibilities of this technical collaboration and this technical collaboration between the T-Sentinel and the smart bulbs product. So we expect that the utilization of both technologies can offer significant improvements in terms of flexibility, and this we expect that this will make the cross-border connection more robust and adaptive to the evolution of the future electrical power sector. And that's it from our side. Thanks for attending this. And now I think that it's time for questions and answers. So I think that Mateo will manage the floor right now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Álvaro, and thank you also Anastasis, Mark, and Dusan for your presentation. Thank you for sharing with us the findings and I mean the advancements of your European projects. And so now I encourage the audience to ask to questions so to the speakers to take advantage of this webinar to ask for clarification. So for doing that, you can use the question and answer tools that are available within the Teams platform, but also Slido. But I can start making some questions and in order to break the ice. And so you in this webinar, you presented two different projects that have some synergies. However, which are the similarities, but also the differences that exist between the approach that are used by the two projects?
I think really it's pretty evident, perhaps from the slides and hopefully that the objectives of both of the projects is very much the same. So we're looking at integration, we're looking for cross-border, and we're looking at trying to improve markets and operation of the system. But where I see the big difference in approaches is the focus from the Trinity is on the actual actions to take. So what is it that you want to do, or how should you respond, particularly in the operation and the markets, in order to reduce congestion and to make better use of renewable power, cross-border trade, etc. Whereas in FARCROSS, the focus has been more about the modeling and the analysis and putting equipment in place that can actually, through the demos, that can actually respond, can take those actions, can give you the action that you want, gives you more tools to actually use with something like T-Sentinel. So I see that as being the big difference, is where we're focused on, but the objectives are very much the same.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. And well, both of and the second question that I want to pose regards about like the legacy of the two projects, because both of them are about to close, so September 2023. And which are the key findings that you can and that you want to highlight after the 4 years of operation from the two projects?
Yeah, maybe I can start with Trinity. One thing that I want to highlight is the great collaboration that we have between the different partners of the consortium, mainly the technical partners, and this will facilitate the participation of some partners of the consortium in future common projects and continue enhancing the different technologies. For example, ETRA could continue the collaboration in order to continue developing the TRS control center with some of the end users and technical partners. Mainly the main interest is to continue enhancing the predictive maintenance module. Also with, for example, CEPEX, the market operator, it is interested to continue exploring different markets in the region and continue to explore this collaboration with them. And also of course with EKC and T-Sentinel and the Regional Security Center of Belgrade, we are still interested in providing more advanced technologies for the different new services that the regional security centers will need to provide in the short term and medium term future. And of course, as I have said, And now I give the floor to Anastasis. Maybe potential future collaborations between some of the partners of FARCROSS and Trinity in order to continue exploring the results of the paper that we have developed.
Thank you, Álvaro. And as far as FARCROSS is concerned, I would like to list some key results that we have and some potential, let's say, exploitable elements. So we have the real-time power flow control solution that can be deployed to perform in the intraday and real-time regional markets. We have a framework for transmission system operator CapEx planning for network utilization. A multi-TSO reference case for greater operational flexibility. We have seen a potential to provide relief of short-term capacity constraints between countries. Solutions for inter-area oscillation in transmission network. A new and improved multi-party control and protection algorithm that enables new grid services or better coordination. In the forecasting section, we have the Europan solution that improves short-term transmission system planning and analysis, and also provides integrated power system analysis with an improved energy prediction for wind, solar, or load and capacity. And we have noticed that there is increased network observability as an early warning system on severe power system regimes. We also have as a result the ICT market platform for optimized day-ahead energy and balancing capacity auction, which has a optimized market animation algorithm, a mathematical model to efficiently represent balancing capacity and energy products in a day-ahead auction market. And last but not least, we have the cost-benefit analysis tools that have been developed, as well as the studies concerning the technical and market codes that can be adapted to improve member state harmonization, and we propose a roadmap for harmonization in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you for this explanation. It seems that you have a lot of key exploitable results and a lot of platforms and that may really impact how the power system is operated is operated. And actually, from your experience and from the synergy and that you have tested during the pilot the pilot activity, which are, in your opinion, the challenges that need to be outclassed when it comes to move from pilot project to large scale adoption of these tools, practice, and procedures that you have developed in your projects?
Basically, the pilot test really showed good cooperation and coordination possibility for synergy, and that the optimal solutions which are selected are implemented on the devices, and that you receive a good results. What could be the challenges? It's maybe not even the challenges, but for the full implementation, it takes time, because the business processes are highly regulated. We are speaking here about the close to real-time operation on the transmission system grid. So it takes time a bit to implement everything, and also it takes time that the devices, for example, which are produced by smart wires, they offer even more possibility and options in terms of what they can do against what is currently described and executed in business process of regional operational security. So it will take time, for example, to adjust how they are represented in the grid models. It will take time for the coordination of the activities, and also for the coordination between the different regions in Europe, because when you have such powerful and flexible devices, it's also good to have a good coordination among different regions, because the electrical system does not know the borders. Basically, the power flows. And basically for this, it needs a lot of coordination and improvement in the business practices. So I would say that this is potentially the biggest challenge, but not challenge, but it will take maybe a year or 2, 3 to process everything and put into the everyday business processes. So this is from my side, the thought on this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. And okay, and seems that the audience is not posing any questions, so maybe we can close the webinar. So
sorry, in a slide there are some questions, I guess.
Thank you. I checked a few minutes ago, but I haven't seen anything. I don't. Can you read it? Because I don't see any questions. There is only, I mean, a placeholder.
Sure. So the first question that I can see is how will projects change the energy market? Getting more liquid, and is there some main markets developed? I don't know whether you want to do them sequentially, but I mean, I can provide something of a response, and I'm sure my colleagues will do the same as well. That suits.
Yeah, I can briefly talk about Trinity. As I have said, we are developing 4 market platforms in which market players can submit offers and submit offers of energy and submit offers to buy this energy in bilateral, guarantees of origin, intraday, and capacity reserve. Just I want to focus on that question on 2 markets. For example, we are developing a guarantees of origin market in the region. We have developed it, and which is something that was not before. So it's a new market that is established in the region. And regarding intraday market, well, as I have said, we are making the test in the border of Hungary and Serbia, and we have demonstrated that price volatility is reduced, and also we have not already calculated the KPIs. It is also expected that the combination of both markets leads to a more liquid cross-border market between the two countries.
If I may add on this concerning FARCROSS, I would like also to highlight the module that is developed about the capacity reserves optimization, which is a ICT market platform for optimize day-ahead energy and balancing capacity auction with the relevant algorithms, the mathematical model, etc., to efficiently represent balancing capacity and energy products in a day-ahead auction market.
I think the other thing that perhaps is worth mentioning is the fact that one of the big impacts on the energy market that we're experiencing, and we've seen it in recent years, and it's only going to get more acute, is volatility due to uncertainty, things happening that we weren't expecting, and that could be innovation, it could be political, it could be a number of reasons. I think both of the projects tool sets that are developed reduce that volatility, reduce that uncertainty. And if you look at some of the technology that's actually been tested, the ability to do something almost in real time on markets, certainly looking at a year ahead or within the year, is something that's not been able to be thought of before for making changes to the transmission system or distribution system, is going to cause a major rethink. And the software tools that we have in both projects, I think, really supports that. So it's just an added thought from my side. you want me to? There's a second question. Would you like me to?
Yes, please, Mark. Yeah. Because I don't know why I cannot see any questions. So yeah, thank you very much.
The second question was how system separation in Central European synchronous system on the 8th of January 2021 impacted both projects, and do you make any changes or considerations in your projects? I assume as a result of that. So I think from our side, or at least from the modular power flow controller, and I'll leave Anastasis and Álvaro to speak perhaps on the wider projects, but we didn't see any major impact with the equipment as a result, and I would expect to be brutally honest. What we did do is we did consider what the application of the technology could actually mean to that system separation event. And it was within FARCROSS, but some of the work that we did was outside of FARCROSS, but maybe it's just instructive to mention it here. We envisaged that if we had equipment installed at the right locations, we could have avoided the event. So do we make any change considerations within the project as a result? Not really, no. We were able to use the technology. We looked at it as an interesting test case on where we could provide additional benefit. But the event itself could have been, mitigated or avoided.
So, from Trinity's side, what I mentioned in the beginning of the project with the proposal, we didn't have envisaged some of the modules, and during the execution of the project, one of the interesting modules that also correlates to the question is that the TSO requested and we developed the emergency and the restoration modules, not we as EKC, but another partner, and that module provides the chance of the TSOs to coordinate actions in terms of the blackout or system split. So this was something that was changed and updated and provided as additional value of Trinity project.
If I may, I would like to add also a comment concerning a relevant incident, which was on 16th of March 2022, where the European continental electricity system was synchronized with the Ukrainian and the Moldavian one. So there was also an important milestone to support this country under need, and this synchronization could have a great impact in Central Eastern and South-Eastern European region. And we discussed in FARCROSS project that the hardware and software tools that are being developed could effectively mitigate this kind of risks, or also in the short term. And we have published a relevant news item in the Bridge newsroom. So I think this was an interesting, let's say, case in addition of what Mark had before.
And then the last question that I see in the slide though is that please can you send a meeting invitation on 7th of September? Well, we are now working on closing on confirming the exact room of the meeting. And as soon as we have all the details, you can follow us on our social media, because there we will send the instructions to come physically or remotely. And if not, you can send us an email to ask specifically for this information, and as soon as we have it, we will send it to you.